Good evening. My name is John Peter Baden, and I'd like to introduce my lovely wife, Adelaide. Understand you're having some kind of a celebration here this weekend, is that right? Yeah. We'd like to share some information with you. Hold on.
This weekend, we are celebrating the 120th anniversary of the founding of St. John's College by John Peter Baden and his wife, Adelaide. They left an indelible imprint, not only on the Lutheran Church Missouri-centered higher education, but also on the community of Winfield as entrepreneurs and community leaders.
Is the Right Reverend Professor Wallace Bearhorst here? If he would he raise his hand? I don't see him. But I have to tell you this. Not long ago, I asked whether he would write a short story about our lives. And what I would share with you is what Professor Bearhorst wrote. Any problems with it, you can speak to him. By the way, did you know that this is also the 140th anniversary of the community of Winfield? Did you know that? I have the coin in my pocket that proves that. I can show it to you later. Anyway, this is what Professor Bearhorst wrote. John Peter Baden was born in 1851 in Germany, and he came to the United States in 1866 at the age of 15. He followed the path of his two older brothers. And he first settled in Hannibal, Missouri, where for 3 years he worked in a cigar factory. While there, he attended Jones Business College in St. Louis, and at the same time he taught himself English. Then he moved to Columbus, Kansas. You know where Columbus is, don't you? It's over east here. Near a recently founded Independence, Kansas, where his brothers by then had opened a mercantile and a grocery store. He was unsuccessful in his Columbus business adventure, and so he moved to Independence to clerk for his brothers, and on the side, he built a successful business in handling wild game. In 1879, at the age of 28, with a new young bride, Adelaide Baden, and $5,000 in his pocket, he moved to Winfield to begin a 20-year career as a dedicated churchman and an eminently successful businessman, a community leader, and what history would demonstrate, a Christian education visionary. And as a committed churchman, Baden was a leader in starting what was known as St. Martin's Lutheran Church. Now, many of you know that as Trinity in 1883, and to found and fund the Congregation School in 1888. As an astute businessman, he purchased and modernized a flour mill, owned and operated a downtown mercantile store, built plants utilizing the latest technologies to process eggs and wild game and produce butter. He built a commercial ice plant with cold storage capacity to accommodate the egg and butter production. And all these enterprises generated millions in revenue annually and provided jobs for hundreds of people, which on a weekly basis filled trainloads of cars of produce and flour for markets that would end up in Chicago, New York, and Galveston. As a respected civic and community leader, he served terms on the Winfield City Council. He played a key role in establishing the city's first modern hospital. He fostered the growth of the railroads to the south central Kansas area, and he joined with others interested in science and letters to plan an observatory near the college and to found the Winfield Chautauqua Society. But it was in education that Baden made his most enduring and indelible mark. In 1890, he had thoughts of founding a new Christian and Lutheran college in Winfield. He was a man of decision and action. And at Christmas in 1892, he donated $25,000 to his national church body to found the English College in Winfield, an amount that was increased to $50,000 a month later. In 1893, his vision began to take form, and from his personal resources in January, he purchased a square block of property at the site for that school. He retained an architect to draw up the plans. He recruited 5 individuals to be charter members of the Board of Trustees. He contacted friends in St. Louis to identify qualified persons for the faculty, and he engaged a builder to construct what would be known as Baden Hall. I believe that's the building over here to my left, right? On February the 20th, 1893, incorporation documents were signed. And on April 10th, the ground was broken. On May the 4th, the corporation deeded the college to his national church body. And on June the 6th, at the convention of the church, they accepted this new college as a gift.
Mr. Baden had asked Mrs. Baden to name the school. After much discussion with their pastor, the Badens thought this college should be named different than that of other institutions of higher education of the Synod. Mrs. Baden chose the name of St. John the Evangelist, the beloved disciple of the Savior, the apostle of Christian love, which embraces all and shuts out no one. And so it was named St. John's College. Though Baden Hall was not complete in September, nonetheless, the first class of students met in 2 second-floor rooms in Baden's downtown store. A class of 11 was welcomed, 5 boys and 6 girls. There was a faculty of 1, Reverend Henry Stoppleworth, a recent Concordia Seminary graduate. John Peter Baden died unexpectedly on March the 1st of 1900 after a brief illness from pneumonia at the age of 49. His remarkable career in the Winfield business and community life and in the service to his church was cut short all too soon. His legacy in Christian education continues alive and well in the patterns of education which today are taken for granted and are commonplace in American education and in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod.
So much for what Professor Bearhorst wrote. This weekend, the Johnnies honored John Peter Baden and his wife Adelaide and all that they accomplished in the Winfield community. May they ever stand as some of the most prominent businessmen and women of Winfield and as the ones who gave to their church, an educational institution that stood for 93 years. We honor their legacy by rising and singing the alma mater, Hail St. John's College, Hail. And at the end of the singing, there will be a balloon release, we hope, of 120 orange and black balloons. The alma mater. Hail St. John's College, hail, champion of truth in all the West, the best, the home of youth. Loyal to thee we stand, praising with songs thy sons a noble band, dear old St. John's. Hail St. John's heroes, hail, valiant and strong, fighting with ardent hearts for old St. John's. Onward to victory, battle as of yore. Hail St. John's heroes, hail forevermore. Hail St. John's College, hail, our own true friend to thee. In after years our hearts will lend, thy spirit die, we'll sing thy praise. Hail St. John's College, hail through endless days. Thank you, ma'am, for allowing us to share this message. Adelaide and I will be serving coffee, tea, and cookies after the band concert over in the community center. Thank you again.